Well, it's 8 minutes before 7. Thanks so much for choosing Morning Live. Now, the country's prisons continue to paint a grim picture of overcrowding and violence. The prison oversight body, the Judicial Inspectorate for Correctional Services, or JICS, released its annual report on the state of the country's correctional services facilities. The report also raised concern about inmates with mental illness incarcerated in maximum prisons.
Another startling report on the state of the country's prisons.
One is shocked by the level of mindless violence. We know the gangs. We know practices like blood on the floor, which means that when any remarkable event takes place, like when a new prison is inaugurated, we hope that they don't celebrate our 20 years existence with that. The practice is blood on the floor. In other words, a warden must die.
Overcrowding remains the root cause of most of the problems. Facilities in the Eastern Cape are the most overcrowded, followed by Gauteng. The Free State and the Northern Cape are the least overcrowded.
Overcrowding is at the core of almost every problem that exists. The gang warfare, everything else.
South Africa has 243 correctional centres with more than 160,000 inmates. In Gauteng, all 11 prisons inspected were unsatisfactory. A shortage of security cameras doesn't help the situation either.
About 2 or 3% of all correctional services prisons have cameras, and some of them are even not working.
Mentally ill offenders in maximum prisons, another sore point. More than 1,200 mentally ill inmates serve their sentences with the general prison population. JICS described this as an injustice.
This is a situation which sometimes leads to violence. It has recently led to a murder in East London, and it has resulted in a number of suicides.
JICS plans to revamp its services to strengthen its monitoring of the country's correctional facilities.
JICS says it is currently working with a budget of just over 71 million rand, but this is barely enough to play an effective oversight role in the country's prisons. The body says this has also made it very difficult for it to visit all the prisons in the country.
The body further called for all instances of segregation and use of force in prisons to be reported immediately. Patricia Fasage, SABC News in Pretoria.